So we all know that the crossover segment is one of the most lucrative and highly populated segments in the market today for the Philippines. But there are some automakers out there that still believe in the humble sedan. One of them is GAC Philippines with this, the GAC EMPOW GE. So let's take a look at what makes this car unique, and is it worth it, especially against the likes of the Honda Civic RS. Starting with the exterior, man, it's aggressive. You have these nice cuts and creases with an angular nose, of course, a massive grille, and lots of vents here. By the way, these are functional. You can actually put my finger into this right here and also over here. This channels air into the engine bay and around the wheels, and this one also is around the wheels. It's functional here because I can probably see my fingers. Anyway, aside from that, you get these gorgeous LED headlights with LED daytime running lights that kind of look like, you know, a viper's eye when it's on. So moving on to the side of the GAC EMPOW, you get these really nice 18-inch alloy wheels with a yellow accent near the brake caliper. Of course, these carbon fiber accents on the power folding side mirrors. A sunroof right here, and an accent that stretches all the way back to the C-pillar. And of course, at the back, you get LED taillights, which kind of look like a Lexus from the back, the side profile here, and looks like a Jaguar if you're directly from the rear. Also, you get a rear diffuser and quad exhaust tips, which I'll talk about more later. Anyway, if we can try to open her up with the key. There you go. You're looking at, well, a generous amount of trunk space. That's enough for maybe a wheelchair, overnight luggage, stuff like that. And of course, you do have a spare tire here, which is unfortunately a space saver. So if you're entering the back of the car, you do get a lot of space. I mean a lot. This is my regular driving position here, and look at my knee room, and the headroom is a bit decent because there's a nice hump back here that allows you for more headroom. But in terms of toys, you really don't get much here aside from one vent, a charger here, and cup holders here on the side. But you do get these nice yellow seat belts, which kind of reminds me of the Type R. So entering the GAC EMPOW from the front, you are greeted by, well, two massive screens. The first is a 7-inch instrument display, or digital instrument cluster, sorry, and the second is a 10.25-inch infotainment system that comes with Apple CarPlay but does not come with Android Auto, which is kind of a bummer. But you do get a lot of storage space here for whatever you need to put there, storage space here to charge your phone, also down here rather, and you have this nice carbon fiber accent here. You also do have manual air controls, which is nice, by the way. And, well, your volume controls are here, and your drive mode controls are also right in the center console. It takes a little bit to get used to, but after you get past that learning curve, it becomes second nature. So we've reviewed the GB variant of this before. It came with a different interior color scheme. And the one thing I noted was that it didn't come with paddle shifters. This time around, though, it does come with paddle shifters, which is a great addition. Of course, it still retains its other features such as adaptive cruise control and lane keep assist to make driving this car much easier. Aside from that, though, you do get a nice sunroof up here, which is a great place to get natural light, and it's really hot. But it does come with a shade to block out the sun. So before we go on a drive, let's check out what's under the hood. So under the hood, and it's a very hot hood, you are looking at a 1.5-liter turbocharged gasoline engine that produces 170 horsepower and 270 Newton meters of torque. This is mated to a 7-speed wet dual clutch transmission that sends power exclusively to the front wheels. Now, in terms of fuel economy, you're looking at around 8.6 to 11 in the city and around 12 to 16 on the highway if you drive frugally and don't turn on the active exhaust. Okay, so before we really set off, I want to show you the multiple drive modes of the GAC EMPOW GE. You have Eco, Comfort, Sport, Sport Plus, and DIY, which is their way of saying personal. So if you put into manual mode, it shows this. The top player is ready for fighting, which I guess means it's in manual mode and is ready to do launch control. Anyway, accept. Right, so now we are driving the GAC EMPOW. What I can say is it feels like the rest of the GAC lineup because they have the same engine and transmission, except for the fact that the EMPOW is tuned slightly better so that in stop-and-go traffic, like we're sort of in right now, the transmission shifts a little more smoothly, locks up a little bit sooner, and delivers you a more, well, overall smoother experience. However, it still suffers from the same issues as the rest of the lineup, where in traffic that's at an angle or going up, the transmission struggles to sort of bite immediately, so you'll be sort of like worried about rolling backwards. But in the EMPOW, it's a little bit less obvious thanks to its, well, lower weight and more aerodynamic design. Now, as for handling, it's good at lower speeds, meaning it absorbs all the bumps and road imperfections. But if you do get to higher speeds, well, you can feel the weight of the vehicle come into play. And yeah, that's about it. But it does come though with 5 driving modes, which we'll show you later, that sort of enhance and or change the driving experience. It sort of tightens up the acceleration, it increases the sensitivity of the throttle, and it sort of changes the weight of the steering to give you a more dynamic drive. But here's the thing. Now, if you put it to Sport mode or Sport Plus, the center display here changes to a gauge cluster, and of course, the active exhaust turns on, and if you floor it, boost comes in really quickly and you rock it forward. Thankfully though, the car has a great set of brakes, and well, the active exhaust just adds another layer of sound to the overall experience of acceleration. Okay, so as for maneuverability, well, not really maneuverability, but like views from outside the vehicle, it has a good windshield ratio. The A-pillars aren't that thick, so they aren't in your way. The mirrors are, well, big enough for the car, but what I don't like is the view from the rear view mirror. Okay, this is because of the design of the car. The EMPOW has a really sloped rear, which looks good on the outside, but when you go into the inside, you really can't see much because the view is just that much. It's a hassle when you have to deal with it, like if you're reversing or parking, but then there's a reverse camera to sort of counteract that. But I wish there was a better viewing angle from what I can see in the rear view mirror. Aside from that, as for its safety features, I really don't have any complaints with the number of airbags and its adaptive cruise control. However, I did notice that the lane keep assist needs better tuning. In certain situations, it can't read the road, even if the lane markers are nice and visible. And in other situations, when the car is turning specifically, it suddenly just gives out mid-corner, which is a bit dangerous if you're expecting it to, you know, stick. As for its driving modes, in the city, comfort is where it's at. If you need to save a little bit of fuel, then you go into eco mode, which dulls the throttle just a little bit. And if you really want to go for it, then Sport is where you should be technically. Sport Plus though is if you want to drive off the line, like a quick launch, because this car does come with launch control. We can't really demonstrate it now on public road, but this enables it to go from 0 to 100 in about 7 seconds. I think the GAC website says around 6.95, but let's just round it up and say 7 seconds. It's pretty quick for a sedan, and it even rivals, well, the Honda Civic RS, which does the 0 to 60 sprint in 7.8 seconds. That's 0.8 faster than a Honda. So GAC has a lot going for it right now. So after driving around the EMPOW, what I can say is it does come with its perks and comes with a few cons as well. But since this is going up against the likes of the Honda Civic RS, it has a lot to prove. But it does well in terms of power delivery, giving you a sporty sedan with a sporty ride and, well, superb handling and performance. But the question now is it worth its 1.35 million peso price point? Well, I think it is, especially because it undercuts the Civic RS by a lot. The Civic RS and the V spec as well. This gives you the horsepower, the acceleration, because this can do 0 to 100 in like 7 seconds, which is amazing for a sedan of this size. And of course, it does come with decent fuel economy figures. If you're willing to try out a Chinese car and you want a sedan, I highly recommend getting this because this ticks all the right boxes for a sporty sedan. So before I forget, make sure to catch our full review of this on autofun.ph. Make sure to like us on Facebook, Autofun Philippines, and to follow us on TikTok and Instagram as well.